There we go. We're live. Nothing is broken yet. We're 5 seconds in and nothing's broken. Life is good.
Life's beautiful for this moment.
For this moment, life is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm happy I woke up this morning because I got to stream for 17 and counting seconds before it went down. All right, so
No drop frames yet. Cloud9, baby.
I'm fine with drop. Like my computer doesn't drop frames with the bitrate I'm streaming at. It's just that sometimes the internet just shuts off, and that's a problem that I don't have the spoons to fix.
Texas infrastructure moment.
No, it's weird. Our ISP is actually fine. I have wired fiber. My roommate doesn't have any issues, but it's just something in my software, my hardware, which means I have to figure it out, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's more annoying than the ISP being at fault.
Right, because the ISP, I can just say, "Oh, it's the ISP. That sucks.
Or you
Oh
can
well."
call them and yell at them.
Right. Anyway, if I do go down, it'll be very brief, and I will ask you where we got up, and then the local recording will be fine.
Yeah, it'll be.
Oops, don't open Paint. All right, so wanted to talk about a few things before we hop into the VOD. You mentioned you wanted to talk about mentality for losing matchups and strategies. You want to talk about stamina for tourney runs, and then that kind of like plateau, like settling feeling after you get a few good wins.
Yeah.
Let's hit these in order. So when you say you want to talk about like mentality for losing matchups, I guess can you explain a little bit more about that?
So, my native land, as it were, I've been a PM player for a long time, but I have a very melee player brain, right? And in melee, I have one losing matchup, exactly one. So I do not. It's actually pretty foreign to me to like understand the kind of state you need to put yourself in to understand like I can play better and still lose. I can, I need to think a little more creatively about how to attack this problem instead of just relying on the idea that if I play well, I should win.
That makes sense. I understand that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just basically the idea that like I'm not used to having a good handful of losing matchups, and I don't know mentally how to approach them.
Okay.
Which is why I highlighted Ike and Knuckles, because those are matchups I think are particularly rough for Fox, and also ones that I have to play fairly often.
Right. So they're ones you're confident are losing. It's not just on paper.
Yeah,
maybe.
I feel like these characters like pretty clearly beat Fox.
Gotcha. I can definitely see the points of pain in the matchup. And let's actually.
Ike I feel like is a little more debatable. Some people will say that it's fine. Like I've talked to Thalia, and they think that it's a pretty good, at least decent matchup for Fox. But I don't know. For me, I feel like the punish is very skewed, and the edge guard in particular is very difficult for Fox and not very difficult for Ike.
Right. So actually,
I think that's the biggest shift.
Let's kind of go through this a little bit. So the punish, Ike's punish is a lot easier and also hits harder, I think too. But also like importantly is a lot more consistent off of the grab or the launchers.
Mm-hmm.
The edge guards are much easier and more consistent in Ike's favor. I think going through these kind of bit by bit might help. One, it might help to kind of put the onus, like you don't have to, you can get out of that space where, if I just play better, I should win. Because, no, there's reasons why Ike does well against Fox.
Right.
And it also lets us isolate what is happening. So, for example, let's take edgeguards, right? Ike can edgeguard Fox more easily than Fox can edgeguard Ike. Well, obviously it's not a perfect solution, but picking longer stages or playing more in the center, where offstage is less of a threat, is one way to start kind of one...
Sure.
It's one value you can change and see how that works out. And then, you can just kind of go one by one. Right?
Yeah,
The punish...
Change and not focusing so hard on what you can't.
Exactly. you can't change the numbers on your nair or the angle your up throw sends at or the hit stun, but you can change. Oh, what options am I going to choose in these scramble situations to try to get the bigger punish, even if it does require more of a read than Ike in the long term anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of already mentioned the edge guarding, but one way to do that is to isolate where is it a losing matchup. Like, I imagine Fox is a little more clean cut than Mewtwo, but there are some Mewtwo matchups where, you get here. In fact, I think the Fox matchup is a good example. If Mewtwo's where Ike is, Mewtwo's winning the matchup. Because the threat of the bad time is so significant. And it's sometimes, I guess with Fox, it might kind of come down to that a lot. But maybe
not getting grabbed in the corner. Yeah.
Not getting grabbed in the corner. It's usually a bad idea.
Yeah.
But things like platforms. If you're on a platform at 0 above Ike, how does that change the matchup in that moment? Is it better? Is it worse?
My gut instinct would be that it's worse, but his aerials might not actually knock down until like 10 or 20, so it might not be terrible at 0 at least.
Yeah, we can talk about the specifics of that actually in this match. In this game, I wanted to talk about that. I want to get there as well because that is something we can look at and change the decision making process on. But things like that, like being above Ike, is terrifying. Based on different values, whereas being above, what's a good character? Being above Mario is less terrifying.
Yeah.
Or how being above Knuckles is not as terrifying, even though it's not particularly better of a matchup. Like,
I think it's more terrifying.
I guess that I haven't really interacted with that up air.
Was the craziest move.
Up tilt, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fair.
But Ike has a pretty similarly really good up tilt as well, and Brian makes a lot of good use of like pivot up tilt, so it's a decent analog.
Right. But the core kind of thing is being able to ask these questions and tackle these problems one by one. It's easy to get kind of stuck in the loop of like, oh, I don't want to be on the platforms because playing on the platforms is bad against, let's say, Knuckles up air. Not that it isn't. So I want to be here on the same horizontal plane. But being on the same horizontal plane is bad because grab is so important and glide is so good. So I should be here. But then I can't be there because if I do that, then they do this and they do that. And you're playing the game for them at that point a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
So
I feel like I definitely have thought that way before.
What you can do is, for example, let's use Knuckles. Being on the platform is risky because Knuckles up tilt and up air and the threat of Waveland grab are all very high reward options that are relatively safe. So you want to play down here on the same horizontal plane. Well, you know what he's going to do, right? You know that you have Idris Elba just, flying in.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the wrong way.
His thing, yeah.
That's a Knuckles. That's an Echidna. So it's so fast. Pit is so much worse by comparison now that Knuckles is real.
Yeah.
But
another thing about the platform, fair hits the platform too.
Of course it does.
Short hop fair.
God.
The battlefield platform, not even just these.
That's wild. So just to kind of keep with the Knuckles thing, let's say you want to be on the ground because being on the platform is risky. Well, now, you've opened up two pretty significant options that are good for Knuckles to do as a general rule of thumb. But he's not going to up tilt. He's not going to just short hop up air. He's not going to F air the platform, that kind of stuff. So now you've narrowed his options down. Even if this isn't any different, you don't have to worry about both of these at the same time.
Right.
These are different sets of actions based on what you're going to do. So plat, and then ground. Oh, that's a long word for my little pen here. There we go.
Yeah, you did great.
Thank you. Short hop. Oh no, aerials is a word. Short hop.
You could AE.
AE.
That works.
Aries. Short,
Aerith.
short hop Aerith. You gotta watch out for short hop Aerith. She's gonna heal her party. You're gonna get wiped. It's gonna be a stupid final. You're not gonna come back in the remake.
Oh.
Anyway, so you don't have to worry about like it's easy, especially as a frailer character, to kind of for this line to get blurred where it's you playing the game for the Knuckles where, oh, I have to go, like, going to the plat is a safer thing because Glide and Grab are so terrifying, but Knuckles still has really good option against Glide and Grab, so I can't stay on the plat forever, etc., etc. But keeping that wall up is really, really important because if you're on the plat, Knuckles obviously isn't going to grab you. He's not going to just left dash dance grab you because he physically can't get up there. He needs to do Waveland grabs, or just Waveland in general. So now that it's easy to kind of get in your own head about this, because these are all very good options on a pretty mobile character, but being able to isolate these is going to help you like, oh, which would I rather deal with, right? Maybe this Knuckles I'm playing against, it really likes this Glide, and I haven't really seen them pressure me on the plat yet. Maybe I'll stick to the plat, so that way they have to enforce their other stuff before I have to deal with Glide super bad. Or vice versa. Maybe they're really good at dash dance grab, so I'll stick on the plat until they kind of just like get me off of force me off of the plat by enforcing these short hop aerials, this up tilt, these Waveland options. So even this is how isolating can help, even if anywhere on the stage is not good, the situation may be bad for different reasons. I don't feel like in bio. And scuffed. Okay, I will check that out later, Lumens. Thank you. So, not to sound like not for this to be a doomer take necessarily, but even if the next matchup is 9-1, it's 9-1 for different reasons based on what you're doing and where you are. So you can use that, right? If let's say the Glide Nair is completely busted and it's unbeatable, like it's truly a war crime against humanity. It's not, but like let's say it's truly the most over-centralizing move in any fighting game ever, right? It can't reach the plat. So if you go to the plat, they can't do this. And then when you get off the plat, the kind of conclusion of that logic is, JSP is off the plat. They're off the plat. Now they're on the ground. Glide Nair is back online. Time to Glide Nair. Glide Nair time. Mm-hmm. So that makes them a little more predictable. Based off of your actions, what you're doing here is moving and then expecting what they're going to do based on what you move. Basically, you're pushing different you're pushing their buttons in neutral. Okay. And obviously, most characters that are pretty good, at least, don't have like the one over-centralizing option. Like, for example, Knuckles alone has... Oh no, I have to watch this all come back one at a time.
I get Glide Nair up tilted a lot when I try to whiff punish.
Great. We can talk about that then, actually. So let me... As another example, let me get rid of some of this stuff. Of how there's a lot of nuance to these, even the individual moves, right? So Glide Nair into up tilt.
Yeah, the pullback makes it like you have to hit it in the startup or before the move starts at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, the pullback is like I believe it was like frame 1 or 2. It's pretty absurd. It's frame one. Yeah, so it is almost like a spot dodge in that way, where you have to. It is a defensive option.
It's better than spot dodge.
It's gets you out of the way faster than spot dodge. Tied with shield. Okay, but so for up tilt, right? Up tilt. This is like you mentioned. It's a big sequence. This is a problem sequence. You have to find the solution to this before they stop doing it because it's really good and consistent.
Yeah. I've thought about a few options like CC to aerial, CC to grab. But both of those, if you're even slightly slow, you get hit by the up tilt. So it puts a huge execution onus on you, which I think that's like kind of a cornerstone of a losing matchup, right? Where you have solutions, but they're just very hard.
Right, you have to fix the problem, and they have more problems than you have. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
So like, yeah, you have shuffle nair, run up grab, but Knuckles can solve those problems either more easily or with lower risk than you can solve Knuckles' problems.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just list out all of our options for getting around glide nair up tilt, right? You have CC the nair into aerial grab. You have intercept nair. Oh no, that's a big word. Shit.
Yeah, definitely could trade with the nair. That's possible.
Especially
or even beat it. Fox nair might have a better hitbox.
Yeah, Fox nair, Fox up tilt. Fox bear probably is going to do as good as nair, if not worse.
Fox bear would probably be better.
So you have you have the option to just beat it out based on disjoint. You have the option to beat it out based on numbers like frame and speed because your jump squad is low enough to where CC stuff can interrupt this. You can also obviously Knuckles has movement and agency in this matchup as well. So do you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can move. And that
not interact with it at all.
Well, you can choose to just evade it, get around it. So maybe if you full hop and Knuckles nairs, you have to worry about up tilt, but that's an option. That's a thing that you can do. I'm talking about run up shield.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Shine on a Shield is the same as the CC aerial grab dilemma, where it does work, but the window is really small, and if they get the up tilt out, the frame one pullback makes it miss.
I'm not saying run up shield to get in range of more options, although that is important. But I'm saying you can change the timing of what they're doing.
Sure.
So let's say you run up shield, and then let's be optimistic, and let's say you get they nair high, and you can get the punish with the CC shine or the shield shine or some kind of relatively guaranteed thing they couldn't up tilt out of the way of. Well, all of a sudden, you have introduced a problem to this very, very good technique. And now the Knuckles player has to go, wait, I want to glide nair because it's good, but I need to worry about this option that changes the situation before human reaction time catches up. Not that Fox is faster than light, but he's pretty fast, and run up shield
fast, yeah.
You gotta, depending on how many plates you're making him juggle, you have roughly a third of a second buffer time between you doing something and them reacting to it. Because that's 20 frames, that's 333 milliseconds. They're focused, but they're also focused on a lot of different things and not just on one very easily distinguishable visual stimulus. So let's say you get a 20 frame-ish buffer. If you run up shield, there's about a 20 frame window of, if the Knuckles player decided to glide nair, then their spacing may be off. I may have, if these timings have lined up correctly, if I've guessed right. But because human reaction time works the way it does, even if it wasn't perfect, you doing this once or twice, especially if you can get a punish off of it, right? It'll stick out in their head. They'll go, wait, what JSP has done something that has made my fun move, my glide nair, my Idris Elba Superman punch, it's not a good move anymore. Okay, well hold on, I gotta change something. So they might be doing short hop nair, or they might be staying grounded, or they may be gliding from higher and trying for back air or down air. They're changing what they're doing, which means that you can't forget about your options here, but you can kind of just put them to the side, right? You have performed the most successful possible counterplay, which is to stop them before they even start. You have shown a counterplay or had a punish big enough to where you can't punish what they don't do, right? Mm-hmm. So you've taken
make them doubt the options that they're trying to go for the most.
Right. So by showing, and part of this is also just by being successful, which I'm not saying that run up shield is the only way to do that, but it's a way to throw off the situation, which would then kind of cause more issues with, what option does the Knuckles player pick, right? Mm-hmm. So now we can kind of zoom back out a little bit. Okay, so glide nair it's a little I'll say a little air quotes weak to, you moving around because the glide's a little committal. You can't like dash dance left, right effectively like he can on the ground. So now Knuckles is going to be staying on the ground a little more and going for that grab, going for that left, right grab game. Well, now you have different, you run this again. You say, oh, if Knuckles is dash dance grabbing me, what do I do to get around that? Wait a minute, dash dance grab, that's really similar to how Marth or Falcon or any number of fast characters with high reward grabs on Fox, which is to say any number of fast characters, handle the matchup. You can draw from experience on these other characters for these more universal options like dash dance grab. Similar thing with Ike Quick Draw, honestly. Like, obviously, there's different details and nuances to it, but
yeah, I was gonna say earlier that Ike Quick Draw is quite a similar move in terms of how it works and also power. In neutral, right?
It presents a ton of different problems and permutations of an issue that you need to fix. And it's a little less committal than Knuckles Glide in the sense that, like, yeah, Ike has to commit a certain amount of distance, but can then just stop. Like, Knuckles can't really just stop. And we can talk about Ike specifically a little more in a moment, but kind of the broader point I'm trying to make with this is, for the really hard matchups, it might take a minute, but if you can convince your opponent that you have at least one option that'll punish Glide Nair, then you can force them to their second option. And then if you can punish the second option, now you can force them to go between the two. And if you can force them to go between the two, then they're not always doing their favorite thing. If you use this in conjunction with, remember, these are the options for when you're on the ground. So even if it's hard to deal with these two options, you could, if you really were committed to it, you could play the entire match like up in the platform in the air where you're out of grab range. You're going to get smacked for it eventually, but
yeah.
you are choosing what options you'd rather deal with. Would you rather deal with the anti-plat options or the anti-ground options? And if you can go kind of bit by bit and deal with the most important, at least the most important of either option, then it becomes a lot easier to kind of pick what you want to interact with, right? So even if the risk reward on Knuckles' options against Fox on the ground is pretty good for Knuckles, you're at least going into that with the knowledge and the preparation that, okay, I know that the risk reward is going to be good here, but I also know that Knuckles is going to be doing one of two or three things. And then that lets you bully the Knuckles player based on what you think they're good at, what you think they're bad at, what they're good at today, what they're good at against you. So let's say you play Idris Elba himself. He's just at the tournament you go to, and it's like, oh yes, I like playing Knuckles. I'm a method actor.
Yeah.
And he's really good at glide nair, and he's really good at dash dance grab, but he can't. When he's pressuring on the platform, with the options we talked about earlier, the up tilts, the short hop aerials, he's not really getting much. Whether it's a personal, because he's not converting well off of them that day, is irrelevant at the moment. You can just stay on the platform and just choose to make him either get better in the moment or work harder for the same reward, right?
True. Okay.
And this is not saying that this makes the matchup, significantly better by any means, but this is one way you can fight a losing matchup is to kind of. The good news is if it's a losing matchup, you're getting hit by something important that's like hurting you a lot, which makes this process a lot easier. If this was like, for example, if this was Puff Peach, it's like, well, neither of them explode when they get hit, so how are they losing, right? It's harder to kind of you have to zoom out farther before you can see it. But you play a character that explodes when you get hit. That's a luxury a little bit in a way.
In terms of gathering information, it absolutely is.
All right, that was a lot. I'm gonna hit these next two. I'm gonna hit the stamina and then the settling feeling much faster, just because I know that I ramble. In fact, where's my little thing? Actually, yeah, I got my little timer. There we go. So for stamina, double elimination brackets, as I'm sure you know, It's kind of the more you win, the better position you're in. Okay, this is an awful cursed bracket, but hear me out.
No, yeah.
If you, nobody should ever be running this. I should give up my TO license. If you're winning your round one, you're let's say seed 1 up here, right? You win your round 1, you win your round 2, you win your round 3. You're in grands, as opposed to if you're 6th seed here, you lose your round 1. All your stuff down here to get back to grands is more tiring, and that's one. There's a few reasons why some top players, especially like Sosa, is my favorite example. It seems like they're not even tired sometimes. It is a cruel reality that the better you are at the game, the more likely you are to win, the less likely you are to run out of stamina. Which means you're playing better against the people who have already lost once and are on less stamina, and it becomes this it can be kind of whirlpool. But we have tools for this. Let's actually use green this time. Does green show up on this background? I just need to not draw on the left side of the screen. It'll be fine. So we'll just get that out of there. So a lot of conserving stamina is thinking less. And that sounds stupid. But
No, I agree. Sure. It makes a lot of sense.
If you can put... I think we've talked about the boxes before, right?
Yeah.
So, if you have your Brian box, it's I-A-N. That's how you spell Brian. Yeah, not Brian.
Yeah, that's how you spell Brian, yeah.
And then your Ike box. You can kind of build out maybe Brian's getting a lot of accidental up smashes today. And that's outside the Brian box. Or maybe Ike can do this wacky thing that actually was very fun. I was working with Tia a little bit on edgeguarding Snake's up B recovery, the C4, sure. And we figured out that dropping down here and up being back to ledge is kind of a good answer. And she hit Flaffy with it in tournament. It was the funniest thing.
Nice.
But it's stuff like that where it's okay, up B edge guards? It's surprises that you can put it in the box later when you have time. It's a lot less tiring to handle things if they are inside the box. So if it's only the up smashes that Brian's messing up his pivots or something today, or only this one wacky edge guard that you haven't seen before, but there's probably a reason for it maybe, then you can think about the things you've already thought about, right? All your Ike stuff that you're either prepped for or comfortable with. Your Brian habits that you're either consciously aware of or comfortable with, even if they're hard to get around. Mm-hmm. So I'm use a different color for this. The stuff that tires you out the fastest is new stuff. It's having to change your Brian box to fit something else new in there. It's not super tiring any individual time, but if one of these walls starts breaking down, if you can't put that information cleanly into your box, then boom, you've got all this kind of junk information, not really organized. Is this a Brian habit or an Ike habit? Oh wait, what is he doing now? It's very easy to kind of start losing energy. I'll get rid of the Brian box for now. So a lot of kind of a longer tournament run is managing your energy. If I'm playing someone round 1 who doesn't know where the control screen in PM is, I'm going to kind of just put them in let's say the melee player box or the kind of just it's a convention and it's a round 1 of the convention with 200 entrants. I'll let them prove me wrong on how much energy I'm going to need to expend here.
Maybe they played in 3.6, who knows?
Right. Maybe they'd automatically ban Battlefield because they're afraid of the whoop whoop. I've gotten so many free bans because of that. People don't know.
Oh, yeah. So, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't have to play on Battlefield if I don't want to. It's great. Except against like characters that I'm gonna ban it against if they don't. It's great. I love it.
Does that work on any stage?
No, it's not even good. It's just scary. It's literally like a creepypasta jump scare. You go back in the VOD and you're like, they're not doing anything. She's just, why is she even doing that? But like in the moment, you're like, oh my god, the Pokemon's dead.
The mental damage is so high.
But actually, okay, here's the biggest reach of all time. This segue here, that mental damage takes your energy down, right? If you have your E tank here, oh, that's not even a rectangle. Oh boy.
That's a trap, a rectangle.
That's a polygon and nothing else.
So, yeah, polygon. There we go.
So if you got your mental energy at a clean 90, you haven't you're not having the best day of your life, but you're feeling good and you're around 2 or 3, and then that Mewtwo stuff happens. Boom! All of your energy is now. What the hell is she doing? What is happening? Is this even good? What do I need to do? How am I going to die? I'm fucked. I'm going to explode. Boom. So, I'm obviously assigning, this may shock you, this is a somewhat arbitrary value I've chosen for the amount of energy this takes, but my overall point is that the novelty of something is a trap you can fall into that'll suck your energy in if you're trying to figure it out while you're also multitasking. Your Brian box, your Ike box. Oh, am I losing? Am I winning? What is my decision making for this punish? Can she do the battlefield teleport BS on any stage, right? What do I ban if she can do that anywhere? If she can't, do I even ban this stage? It's good for Fox, etc. Like, this whole gap here is from new stuff, from trying to figure out new stuff on a time limit. So, if you can, even if you don't know, even if you're like, oh, this is some weird Mewtwo teleport BS, I make fun of having Battlefield be an auto ban, but if that's something that is, it's a lot to think about because Mewtwo's a weird character, and the use of that is something that takes a few minutes to kind of like, well, is it, isn't it? Just banning it is a good way to, let me actually go back, is a good way to, instead of your energy being down at that pink, it might still take some energy to decide to, I'll just ban it and get it over with. You can kind of like, what's the term? Damage control a little bit. It still took energy. You were a green before the teleport bullshit. But, if you can just cut it off and be like, okay, I will handle that later. I'm on a recording setup. I'm on stream. I'm gonna look at this VOD and be confused later when my energy and my stamina is not in question. That's one way you can kind of compartmentalize. You can just put it off. Like, procrastinate figuring this out more than I have to, at least. And then for you specifically, actually, Jisp, what do you know what takes the most stamina for you?
Getting hit by things that frustrate me. That's for sure it. Like in the example of this tournament run, I just Knuckles kind of took it out of me.
Gotcha.
And then also, like, I don't know, like playing most of my sets on stream and playing like 2 or 3 sets in Losers Top 8. Just say it was a long day. But mostly it was I think getting frustrated is the thing that lowers my tank the most.
Gotcha. So there's a few things we can do about that. Well, first, if you could get good, no, I'm kidding. Something that helps me when I'm getting frustrated at something, like I haven't competed in a tournament aside from like the first Houston tournament in 2 years since Knuckles came out. Oh yeah, it was a very fun time, but I didn't have to play Knuckles. Knuckles right there, I'm still frustrated at Knuckles' existence, but something that helps me kind of work through that is understanding better. So either understanding that, oh, this person I'm playing against is like, and it's a reaffirmation of a way that at least my frustration, a reaffirmation of a way that my frustration comes out is that, no, they're good. Like, regardless, even if Knuckles is the best character in the game, so what? They're good at Knuckles. That's being good at the game. That's not any less valid than being good at, Mario or Puff or anyone else, right?
Sure.
The CSS is a skill.
Very true, very true.
Or trying to understand something. So I play a floaty, so a lot of the times I can get away with not having to actually understand things. Because what is Fox's mix-up on floaties? It's up throw into shark, and I'm Mewtwo, so I'm way up there. That's the extent of you to understand it. Versus like, what is Wolf's mix-up game and throws? It's like, well, DI mix-up, I think, and that's really all. That's all it is for Mewtwo, as far as I understand, at least. So that can keep my head a little clearer, both in the game and then in between. If I know I'm playing Switch, I can start going like, okay, at 80, starting about 60, 70, I just DI shine in, and then I just take whatever hit, right? Maybe I start thinking about stage choice and how that affects it. But I'm not going, why does shine kill me or a shine flash kill me? Why is it real? I'm not mad at like, oh, why can he confirm out of a throw mix up? My character didn't have a combo throw, let alone a mix up, da 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 da. These are all things I've actually thought. I'm not proud to say, but it's
I understand that.
but it's only like brief frustrations in a moment, because I use these tools like, no, I mean Kyle's great. Kyle's great at the game. He's playing a good character. That tends to happen together.
Yep.
Or understanding. Yeah, understanding my options. Like, okay, maybe Wolf throw mix-ups are good. Is the gap big enough for me to fuzzy it? Is it reactable? Are there situations where I'd want to just DI on stage either way, no matter which way I'm facing? Does it stop confirming at a certain point on bad DI? Like, for example, Sheik's throws. I forget the angle. Apparently there's some blessed DI against Sheik as Mewtwo in that like fall speed and weight class, where once you get to high percent, there's no more mix-up for a strong hit. She has to like stagger you or get like a weak hit of something on either throw. But it's just as an example of like, if I was frustrated by Sheik's throw game, that's something I know I can go learn more about it. I can play the character a little bit also, just kind of to understand it a little better. And then, okay, I obviously play a floaty, so this might not apply to Fox quite as much, but and I'll explain what I mean when I say this. But one thing that helps me is being petty. So like, realizing, and again, this sounds bad. I play a floaty who kills you at 0. Shut up, JSP. So it's stuff like that where it's like, oh, I hate the Fox matchup. Like, Fox is so fast, kills me off sour nair. What is this? How am I supposed to contest that? The risk reward on anti-airing is so bad. Well, sometimes I just throw you off stage and you die at 0, and I smile again, right?
Yeah.
in fancier terms, like acknowledging my advantage states where they are both helps with the frustration and also helps remind me what I'm playing to win. Like, what states am I playing to achieve? I'm playing to achieve grabbing Fox or juggling Fox or hitting Fox in pretty much any way above 30. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I can't just hit him and I win. Yay.
It just evaporates, yeah.
This character's made of paper mache. But, for me, being petty, that helps me kind of get back into that. But it's...
No, I think that's pretty applicable to every character. I, like... It less so for Fox because you can't really gimp anybody at 0 anymore. But
right.
like, it's that there's certain like you can definitely like play pretty uninteractively, do various things to target specific weaknesses and frustrate people back, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Target specific weaknesses, and it's like, well, if I'm going to be mad at Glide and Air, you're going to be mad at getting hit out of Glide.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get mad at your vertical recovery being really bad without walls. Or, like, just not to the point of, like, antagonizing the person, but, like, antagonize the character. Like, oh, Ike's recovery is really obnoxious with walls, but doesn't have that 45. So I'm going to get really good at just putting him in that 45, so that way you have to put up with a meh recovery. Or you have to put up with something you don't like. Because I have to put up with you, and I don't like your character. I'm playing it up, of course, but that is one aspect you can... Especially if you take it to the extreme.
Handle the frustration.
Yeah.
In a sense, yeah.
And then if you take it kind of to the extreme, it can help loop back around to like, okay, that's silly. Okay, yeah, this character's annoying, but that's fine. Like, yeah, it's fine. And then with the quantity of sets, well, first off, if you just win more, you play less. So I would suggest. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
That's the realest answer you could have given.
No. Part of it is box theory. That sounds way more important than it is. But again, trying to compartmentalize and ration out your stamina for the sets that you might not need as much for. So like, my round one, maybe it's somebody I play frequently that I'm very comfortable, even if it's maybe not the easiest matchup, I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with this person, like knowing their personal habits, just anything of that nature to kind of compartmentalize. You don't have to make as many decisions because for the most part, I know you play Fox, but for the most part, most of the fatigue and stamina issues are mental fatigue. Decision, like my favorite example of decision fatigue and getting mentally tired even when you haven't been doing anything difficult is the reason that grocery stores have candy bars and soda and checkout. So when you did a half shift at work, you went grocery shopping for half an hour, you're kind of tired, you have a tournament later, you're thinking about, there's a candy bar right there. Yeah, why not? Right? And it's a $3 candy bar that other places in the store is cheaper, but you don't think about it or you don't care as much because you're tired.
Sure. Yeah, I like that analogy.
It's the $3 Kroger candy. But wait, do you have Kroger? Well, I'm rambling.
We have Kroger's.
Why is it not on the East Coast? All my East Coast friends think I'm insane.
Actually, do we have Kroger's, or am I just like?
As long as you know about it, that's good enough for me.
Am I globalization pills? What's going on here?
No, you're worldly.
Operation.
We're talking about Kroger. Okay, but my point being, kind of. Oops, back to the pen. The more tired you get, the more tired you will get from that point, if that kind of makes sense. So even if you can only delay it, a few games at most, that is still a lot of progress. And as you bully somebody and give somebody more problems, you contribute to their mental fatigue, right? Mm-hmm. In the same way that if we were to play in Melee, you would expend 0 energy defeating me. If we were to play in PM, you would expend more because I am better at bullying the Fox. I am better at playing the game. You have to work harder to beat me. That's another way you can be petty. A lot of my mentality of Ice really just does circle around to being petty. Nice. Even if you lose a close set in winners, something that helps me is going, well, that was a really close set. If they make it to winner side of grands, like if they just body everybody, one, I was clearly the hardest foe in their path, and I'm awesome. Or two, if they lose immediately afterwards, well, because I took all that energy away from them. It took them that much energy beating me, and even then only barely, to where they got 3-0 by Scrimblow Bimblow. I did play Squidward. Scrimblow Bimblow's awful. I mean, okay, good for Scrimblow Bimblow, but like...
Yeah, but clearly it's all about me.
I loosened up the pickle jar for you. That kind of.
Yeah.
And that can help me stay positive, especially when there's I realized I wasn't doing something well, or like this is a trap. You shouldn't fall into this trap, but if you do, it shouldn't have been that close. Kind of like round 1, round 2, round 3, etc. Because that's not a fair thing to say to somebody, but it can then kind of help get you back in the game of like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, shoulda, coulda, woulda, doesn't matter. It was that close, and I took all that energy out from them, or they took all that energy out from me, and that's cool. And then to kind of touch on the quantity of sets, like, unironically, winning does help with this, which makes it a negative spiral of,
right.
If you're having a bad day, you get upset in round 1, the chances of you making it to grands are lower than if you had won round 1, obviously.
For sure.
But something that can kind of help me at least is when you realize you have a lot of sets ahead of you, Just do one at a time. Just one set. Don't think about, oh, I'm gonna lose round one. It's a 16-person tournament. Don't be a TO, right? Don't be like,
Sure.
oh, am I even gonna get to where I'm projected to see? Where was I seated? Am I even gonna get to that? Just go like, who do I play next? Okay, I play Scrimble, Bimblo. They play Squidward. I played them before. I should do, start thinking about A, B, C, D. Start thinking about the matchup, maybe about your stage choices. But like, don't look at the bracket until you're done.
Yeah, like approach the bracket with like a mindfulness mentality, where you only look at the current moment.
Right. Don't think about, oh, if I beat Scrimblow, Bimblow, Squidward, do I play, oh, is that a Mr. Krabs main? Oh, I hate Mr. Krabs. His glide nair is busted. Like, what do I do? Because now you've already, that's more energy. One, it's more energy worrying about something that might not happen, which is always nice to minimize. But two, you haven't started playing either of those matches yet, and you're more tired. So if you can just take the matches one at a time, even if you're winning, this is very helpful advice, for me at least. You can just kind of, one thing at a time, go, okay, wait, if I win this, I make it winner side top 8. I don't want to know what the bracket is, because right now I'm playing Kyle or I'm playing whoever, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool, I'm winner side top 8. Who am I playing now? I'm playing, okay, cool, I'm playing a Diddy Kong player. Cool. Okay, what do I do against Diddy Kong? I don't care about the rest of the bracket. The other 7 people in this top 8, I can't play all of them. I'm not going to play all of them, so I'm only going to worry about the one I am.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully that can kind of help. It is also a process. It's never it's like playing, right? It's never perfect. It's only a goal. So there have definitely been days where I've been petty in a non-productive way. I have not understood things. I have not given my opponent, mentally at least, given them the credit that they deserve, even if it's just they're picking a character that's good against mine. Hey, they can play that character still. And I've become frustrated and been a spoil sport, internally, at least. But no one's perfect all the time. That's okay. Okay, so last thing here, before we hop into the match. Let me set the 30 for this one, because... Oh, no, 25. I did my math wrong on my timer. Perfect. 25 is great. I shouldn't need to hit that, but if I do, that's a alarm bell. So,
sure.
You're starting to... Correct me if you've heard this one before, or if I'm presuming anything necessarily, but what I interpret you saying you're settling feeling as is you have a few wins that you're proud of, rightfully so. Oh, I've beaten Scrimblow, Bimblow, Squidward. I've beaten, I've taken, a tournament off of this person now. Well, I've won a local when X was there. I've beaten Y in a best of 5. I've gotten to a best of 5 with Z. And it kind of, over the last 3-6 months, you've realized, like, wait, I don't have an infinite supply of those. I'm not excited to be beating this person now, even if this is the first time I beat them. Is that kind of how you're feeling?
Sure. I guess the specific example and the reason I brought it up in the first place is because at this tournament specifically, I beat Stewed, Knave, and then Not Chris and Kendrick. And the Not Chris win specifically, I think, like, really kind of put me in the sort of, like, okay, I've done my job for the day.
Got it.
Kind of mentality. Because I used to be really, really bad at that matchup. Like, I would lose to our local unranked Nest player, and then I just, like, out of nowhere, 3-0'd Not Chris. And I was like, okay, well, that's my satisfaction for the day. And then when I got to Motobug, I was like, oh, it's Knuckles. They're ranked higher than me. We're playing for 4th.
It's a safe loss.
I've done my job.
Nobody would give me crap if I lost this, right?
Yes. That's definitely an aspect of it too. Just like I'm expected to lose this, and I've already made a few upsets. Like I'm willing to just kind of go out gracefully into the night. And that's obviously not a good mentality to have. But it's something that's happened to me before, where I've like beat Aurelian winners. And obviously, like, this is less of a problem now because I've just played Chris so much.
But then I'm like, okay, I've done my job for the day. I don't have to win the tournament.
I feel it. Whereas if that had been grand finals from you on the loser side, you would have been able to keep going.
Yeah. So the first tournament I ever took over Chris was in losers, kind of deal.
Gotcha.
It's I don't know. Yeah, that's the basic summation. It's just like I sometimes just get a win or two or even three that I'm proud of, and then I'm like, I don't have to keep going.
Gotcha. I know that you use this phrase, and it's a very convenient phrase for this purpose, and you may not have meant it quite so literally. But what is your job at the tournament? As a player, not as a TO, but like as a player.
I mean, to win.
Is that your job?
To test your own skill against everyone who's there.
I mean, if your job is to win, it sounds like you should. Your job isn't done yet, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
that's for sure.
And your job can be. I'm kind of picking on your word choice here a little bit, but
sure.
Like, if your job is to win, then you're not done yet, right? If it's to have fun, then getting a nice upset is fun. You should keep going for that, right?
Yeah.
You can, even if your job is to get, one really good upset, and you get that one really good upset, why don't we be a little greedy about it, right? Like, why don't you do a really good job and get 2 upsets, and then your performance report, your PR goes up. That was not planned. That was just a happy little accident.
Yeah. Bob Ross upset.
It's a little Bob Ross upset. Just a happy little accident. Just a happy little loser's run against O'Reilly. But if you can play a little mental gymnastics with what you think, with whatever your goal is, that can help you keep the steam up for the event, right? If your job is to, I want to make it to top 8. Oh, cool, I got to top 8. Instead of, it's hard. It's not easy. I'm very guilty of the same thing. Instead of going, oh, I've made it to top 8. I can relax now. It becomes, you can get a lot of value of, oh, I made it to the top 8. What about top 5 though? What about top 6?
Yeah.
Top 4, top 3, top 2, number 1? If you can find, and this is going to be a very personal thing for you, if you can find whatever buttons you can push in your head that help you motivate to like overachieve, as it were, then that can help a lot. So for me, right, like it was kind of an unhealthy relationship, frankly. For the longest time, basically since Bigger Balk, when I kind of like had my breakout, my job was to win or to get a big upset, because especially if I was the only Texas person left. So it became one of those, this is something I have to do. This is a job. And if I don't do my job, I have done poorly. Something has gone wrong. I am wrong. So that even with having fun, if you realize you're not having fun, the solution is not to say, oh, I haven't done my job. The solution is to say, oh, what's wrong, right? Should I maybe skip a week or two, figure something out about myself? The solution is not to kind of go, oh, I am doing this wrong. The solution is a little more introspective.
Sure.
So, and kind of on the flip side, when you've done your job, it becomes, okay, so let's say you made a huge upset. That was you traveled to your outer region tournament. You made a huge upset against their PR. Cool. That was a goal you really, really wanted to achieve. Well, shit. You can't do that again. Like, it might be easier for you to change your goal to, oh, I've made this huge upset. Now I just want to play as much as I can and have a lot of fun against these players I don't get the opportunity to play against, right? Or, well, I've already made the huge upset. Why not, while I'm here, take their money, right? You can. I'm just trying to give you examples.
No, yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Right, I was going to go to Whataburger anyway. I might spring for the large combo if I take their money.
Culvers. That's my favorite part. Is the post tournament Culvers when I won money.
Oh, I've missed it so much. And it feels so good. Like, even if it's only like $2, you're like, yeah, I'd like to go get food because I'm rich.
Rich. I'm drowning in it.
A Scrooge McJisp. So this is kind of that settling feeling for an individual tournament, right? Like when you realize at the event, like, oh, I've done my job. Now what? You know, how do I continue to motivate myself? There is I don't stop me. Feel free to like cut me off if you aren't experiencing this. But how do you spell plateau?
Plateau. No, that's not right.
Plateau?
Wait.
I think it's Plats.
Yeah.
EAU?
Yeah, no, EAU.
Yeah. Now that I see it. Thank you in chat also. So this is basically the same problem but longer term. Whereas this is one event. Feeling like you've plateaued is a kind of like the same problem but over a long term instead of a short term. Where it's, if whether by success or failure, if my job is to win and I'm either winning and not really feeling super motivated anymore, or I'm losing and not really feeling much motivated anymore, that's a problem you gotta like change your perspective on. If I'm not having as much fun, you have to change either your perspective or your actions to fix that. If you want to make an upset and you feel very stagnant in your local ranking where you beat who you're air quotes supposed to beat, you lose who you're air quotes supposed to lose to. This is the same problem, but it makes you feel differently, which it's trying to trick you into thinking you need a different solution, but you don't. You do the same thing of like, I've either made my upset or I feel like that's not motivating anymore. Go to something else, right? Let me just, I played Olimar in tournament a non-single digit number of times because it's fun.
That's wild.
Because, the motivation to win or to get some big upset, whether it was working or not, just wasn't there for me that day. I've had times where I've played, non-Mewtwo characters because Mewtwo wasn't fun. Even, or because I didn't think Mewtwo could win. Sometimes you gotta just throw stuff at the wall. Whether all of ours not fun. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Okay, /ban.
I'm inclined to agree.
What?
It's not my cup of tea.
If it's not your cup of tea, that's perfectly fine. You can't tell me I didn't have fun.
I can see why it was very involved.
It's actually the opposite. I like a character who just has a fair, because that's another thing.
That's kind of what I was thinking initially is that you just kind of fair.
Well, because that's something Mewtwo doesn't have. It's a lot harder to cover that area. Which some days I'm just like, you know what? I just want a fair on a not Marth character. It is a good fair, Samantha. You're right. Oh no! Wait, hold on. No, we're not talking about Knuckles. This is bait.
Yeah, you're getting baited. Don't.
Not gonna let her bait me. All right. So, as one last kind of example, if let's say beating Chris in a tournament is a really really big motivator for you, that's awesome. But that is kind of an external, relatively short term goal, right? Of like, oh, I want to, and that's something you can take steps towards. I want to practice the Falcon matchup. I want to study VODs of our sets. I want to study how Chris plays. You can, let me clear this. That's something you can take steps towards. And that's why it feels so good to have those short-term goals, to have a job, right? Like, oh, my job is to play Mario. God damn it, Samantha. My job is to make an upset. Who am I going to be playing against next weekend? Who am I playing against Chris? I can study that, and I can practice and make progress on that. Versus, oh, my job is to have fun, long term, playing a video game as a hobby? Oh, what do I... Okay, youtube.com, how to have fun in Melee. Wait a minute. SSBM guides. Wait, no, you've let me down.
Right.
So the long-term goals and objectives are just as important as the short-term ones, because the short-term ones is that's what's going to keep you in training mode, studying VODs, going for that improvement of some kind, or chasing that fun of some kind, right? But that long-term is what's going to keep you from plateauing. Like, it can be external, like, oh, I want to be ranked top 10, or I want to be ranked number 1 in my region, or I want to, when someone says footstool meta, I want them to say JSP. I want them to immediately go, oh, there's this insane Fox player, right?
I'll never live up to Chalupi's legacy, but
well,
but I am the second name that people
maybe
good enough for me.
I want to be top 2 on that list then. I want to be the second best footstool memer. But, things like that. And then there's also the internal things, right? Of, oh, I really want to push what Fox gets out of that footstool on a personal level. Or maybe I really want to play to the extent that I feel like I'm playing really, really well and improving. And the trick...
That's the one that applies to me the most. My mentality, regardless of who I win or lose to, is usually undamaged if I felt like I was executing that day.
Right.
That's the goal I'm mainly chasing, is to feel like I did the things I wanted to do.
Right. The trick, though, is that because that's a very, all of these long-term goals are either external and require you to have results, which is a lot of variables, and then somebody to place you in a certain spot based on those results, or in kind of vague, right? They're internal for a reason, because I want to feel good and like I'm improving is great. It's really, really good, but it's vague because you're going to have these days where, if this is your baseline in the middle here, right? You're going to have your good days, you're going to have your bad days, and everything in between. And some days you're going to feel like you're improving a lot. And some days, I should not have driven that all in the same line. Some days you're going to feel like, you're improving a lot with only maybe some minor dips and some peaks, you're trending upwards. And some days you're just going to feel like, you're not really, like, either you're stagnating or any improvement you make is kind of cut off immediately. The trick with this is, the reason you need short-term goals is because this is long-term, right? So this is, let's say the entirety of this graph is 1 year. That means that this could be a weekend. It could be a week or two. It could be even a month. And it's hard to drag yourself out of this kind of space when you don't have that short-term goal to kind of refocus, reground on, okay, I'm not doing well. I'm going to just go back I'm going to go back because I really want to beat Chris. I really want to be good in that matchup or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you zoom out, let's say, at the start of the year, you were at this baseline. You're going pretty good. Oh, it's not quite improving, stagnating a little bit, going not too hot, going a little back and forth. Oh, footstools. Okay, footstools aren't working out top. Oh, okay, I'm getting better at them, Next year, your baseline is here. Or, maybe not that high, because this is a little bit, that's not the average, but
yeah, it goes up with the average.
This is your improvement. And that's not a quantifiable thing, so it's really easy to kind of miss out on it. Miss the forest for the trees kind of thing, right? Oh, yeah,
having it be relative to everyone else around you, too, is
right.
I feel like the kicker a lot of people get hung up on.
Right. So, when, you're changing a control scheme or trying something new and it's not working and you have this kind of slump for a few weeks or, a week or two even a tournament, right? It can really hit you. Or, oh, hey, you thought of a new perspective to implement footstool punishes, and that's really rewarding. That's not your short-term motivation. That's just the effects of your long-term, perspective, training, practice, whatever you want to call it. So it's very easy to kind of ride those highs over here, or to kind of fall into those lows over here without those short-term goals. I say this as somebody who detests short-term goals. I've learned to love them, but I don't have to like them.
Sure. What do you mean by that?
So, This is something that makes me happy. This is the upward trend, even if it's hard to notice. That's very satisfying for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very prone to these shit, to getting in my own head and not giving, especially by not giving others the respect they deserve. Of, I shouldn't be losing to this Diddy Kong player or to this Marth player. Oh, it shouldn't have been that close. So I'm very prone to falling in these slumps, and it's like, again, if we zoom in to just this green section, then all of a sudden, something has gone horribly wrong. I don't know what went wrong, and now I don't have any direction on why I feel this way. Versus if you have a short-term goal, then you can go, okay, well, that is, I do feel like I kind of hit a slump, but, I had an upset. And even if it doesn't make me super happy, I had an upset, or I had a good win that made me happy, or I had a small improvement that made me happy, or, I just had fun. It sounds weird to say that short-term goals can include just having fun, but, I mean, I go to a movie to have fun, and that's a short-term goal, right?
Yeah.
I go to a tournament. I play this game, netplay, to have fun, and that's a short-term goal. So that can kind of reground after, like, okay, so it feels like I've lost so much ground. I've gotten so much worse, or I'm not really improving, and that's a huge motivator for me long-term. But short-term, these short-term goals are perfectly good reasons too. Like, I'm not motivated by this long-term goal anymore. I don't. Like, improving is fun for me, but it's fun. It's not... Having fun is the reason I play. It's not to improve... Like, that doesn't bring me that same intrinsic happiness that it used to. So, yeah, this still results in fun for me if I wanted to kind of go for this path, but the important part is the short-term goal is what's keeping me... It's what's keeping me playing net play. It's what's keeping me going to locals, things like that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes... very, very good sense.
Okay, I'm glad, because a lot of the times if I get a little more abstract,
I like the abstract visual representations. They work well for my thought processes.
Beautiful, thank goodness, because I'm very insecure about kind of people just being polite and I'm not actually helping them, and they're just like, she's just talking. Okay, yeah.
No, the charts and the again the kind of abstraction. I like to think about things and put like kind of nebulous concepts into words. So it's engaging for me for sure. Awesome.
So basically, all that to say that kind of settling feeling you get, if you know how to keep yourself continually motivated long term, you have to rework it a little bit, but you can use that same technique for the short term, and vice versa. If maybe if you or someone is really good at that short term, like that one day, like, oh yeah, I don't feel like I'm settling at all. I did A, B, C, D. I had fun, whatever goals, whatever short term goals, but is struggling in the long term, you can just rework it a little bit and boom, go long term. And then of course we talked about some specific things, some specific ways to do that by just kind of. Even if you still want to think of it like a job, right? Oh, my job here, my short-term goal. Oh, boy. Yeah, mental fatigue kicking in, yeah. In real time. It's more abstract, abstract visual learning. Yeah. But, you can try to go for a different goal. Try to almost, if you want to think of it, not like a checklist in the whole, like, oh, well, I have to do this, but like, oh, I've already made this upset. Making another upset might be fun, but it wouldn't it's not motivating. Go to, but let's try to win the whole thing. Or go to, but it'd be funny though, right? If I just came in from out of town, playing this melee-ass character that everybody knows the matchup for, etc. Like, you gotta kind of
feel really good. You've just struck a chord with all the Fox names in the world. That one does feel really good. Like, you knew what was going on. I kind of knew what was going on.
It's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
That is a really fun feeling of like, I don't know your character, you know my character, and I still won. Oh, you have some work to do, honey. But
Yeah.
like getting creative with these, and like it can be fun. It doesn't. That's why I don't like the term job a ton for me personally. If it works for you, 100% great. But the jobs aren't fun.
Yeah, jobs aren't fun. They're supposed to be fun.
And giving myself the giggles is a legitimate short-term goal that motivates me. So if that works for you, speak to yourself the way that works for you. But it helps me a little bit to kind of.
I think reframing the way I would phrase. If I could go back and talk about the settling issue, I would not use the word job.
I know I'm kind of harping on you for using a very convenient and common phrase. I'm not trying to like.
No. But language is important. Like that's the important part, and changing your language can change the way you think about things.
Yeah.
So if my first instinct is to call it a job, then that's the problem right there, isn't it?
If it's a problem, I think it's a problem for most people to think of it that way. I'm not gonna say absolute, because I'm sure they're like, obviously for bigger games too. Like LCS pros think of it like a job because they have a lot of reward and they have different reasons for doing this than PM players would. But frame it the way that makes you happy, right? If thinking of it like a job,
I love it, and I don't love working.
Yeah, that's kind of the definition of job. But some people love their jobs, and good for them. It's not work then.
We should all be regardless. So lucky.
Oh, in this capitalist economy, with that always sunny. How can three grown men not afford a hard day's work between the three of them? Okay, so now for the set. I know I may have buried the lead somewhat with this coaching session, but
we'll go over as much as we can.
Yeah. I just think that those three things you mentioned are. I think that especially for the mentality and losing matchup strategies, that's going to be just as important as what happened in the set, because that's kind of give you the tools to go like, oh wait, I'm having trouble against Ike or Knuckles or the one character Fox loses to in Melee, right? Now, how do I fix it? How do I play from behind, starting from the stage select screen, etc.
Right, yeah.
And the first thing was this was the losers set, right?
This was winners round 2.
This was the winners round 2, really?
Yeah. So my run this tournament was I beat Joey, then I lost to Brian, then I beat Dude, then I beat Nave, then I beat not Chris, then I beat Kendrick, then I lost to Motobug. Gotcha.
If you don't mind me saying so, this double jump, and this is the same double jump we talked about before, it feels like a more fatigued one. For that reason, because I almost called him Metroid.
So I think when I am not confident in my grounded options, I kind of default to this double jump.
Gotcha.
I've been noticing that a lot more recently in my actual gameplay since we've talked about it. So hopefully I will stop doing it soon.
Yeah, step 1 is noticing it. And Boat, you are right. I didn't want to kind of gloss over your sick run, but I was just surprised this was the winners round 2.
Yeah, I'm okay at this game.
Hell yeah, you are. If I've ever implied the contrary, it was accidental. I'm sorry. I have not meant to.
No, it's you never have. I just I don't know. I try to be as humble as I can.
I think that's a good angle to take. A good kind of way to stay grounded. But so that's basically the same. I remember in our set where you were playing Aurelie, especially, like Ike is not quite as fast as Falcon, but he has that same left-right grab that a lot of characters will kill you for if they can get a read on your double jump habit here.
This is the closest analog. Falcon, I think, is the closest analog.
The reward. Yeah, because Ike's reward is higher, but Falcon gets the grab easier.
Yeah.
Unless your name is Chalupi, then the down throw is is 80%.
Yeah. Quick draw grab can be really difficult to deal with. In the sense it's like kind of like nair grab in that sense.
He doesn't actually ever quick draw grab you here in this set, at least.
Yeah,
I know that's.
I throw a lot of preemptive moves out in center stage to not get hit by quick draw grab.
Right, and that makes sense. I'm just on the topic of this double jump. This double jump wouldn't solve that problem though. So it's still the same kind of base bad habit.
Yeah, it's a bad habit for sure.
The fact that you're doing it kind of automatically is what makes it a bad habit. Because this is a good angle to come in from, especially against Ike, who his up tilt is slow and starts low. His jump squat isn't great. He doesn't have that He doesn't
have a frame 5. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's frame 5. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess let's say it's frame 8 or 9 by the time it becomes relevant, at least.
That's for sure. So the actual frame it would hit you if you're trying to anti-air someone is not going to be 5.
Yeah. So he has that. He can't he can shark you real good if he has the time and the space to. Unlike a Marth up air or even a Fox rising aerial can kind of contest this really well. Where this is the thing that Ike can't. He has to stay on the ground to easily contest this, because especially at 0, because if he hits you here, you don't even get knocked down. You're literally at 0. The only thing that he can, the only launcher he really has when you're this low percent is going to be that grab.
Yeah.
So to kind of very briefly cover the plat and the ground, getting on the plat is much safer here, at least before you get knocked down by aerials.
Right. Well, and that wraps around. That was the first thing I said when we came in here.
Heck yeah.
It's been an hour. Time flies.
Despite my terrifying fear that everyone is just going along with me as some kind of cruel joke, I am getting better at this. I live in a state of fear. It's awful.
I'm afraid of that. I mean, I understand the basic insecurity, but I think you're pretty good at this.
Oh, thanks, Jez. I think you're pretty good at this game too.
Yay!
All right, so yeah, this kind of double jump, it turns out to not end up being a ton, but it's one grab that only is 6%. That's kind of on Brian more than on you at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. That grab could have been death.
Okay, and I also want to talk about kind of the way you're getting these short strings here. Even when you're... Here, let me get the next one. Even when you're kind of getting 1 or 2 hits and resetting to pressure, that bear, this is not good for Ike.
Yeah, no, this is the perfect situation you want Ike in. I need to be more cognizant of when I can just grab Ike.
Yeah, because
after this I was like, ooh, hit more buttons. Which, I have a lot of fun doing, but
I think hitting the buttons is fine. Because you can still, with his out of shield gaps, you can still pressure him very well. It's not in that you can pressure him in a different way than you can pressure Fox. But if you pressure Fox, eventually Shine of the Shield is gonna hit you if you get too close. You kind of have to toe that line very carefully. You have a lot more freedom because his 2 out of shield options are, well, maybe a little lower than that.
Shield grab and roll.
Shield grab, the universal options, and then kind of back air, but that's his next best one.
Yeah.
So he either has to escape or try to shield grab you out of Fox pressure, which is, admittedly, if you shield grab...
That's a day 1 mistake.
Hey, if the Shine...
It works a lot, though. It really does.
If the Shine doesn't kill you, for Mewtwo example, I shield grab so much for Shines because the Shines won't kill me because I'm a low friction floaty and I'm privileged.
Yeah, Mewtwo doesn't get you don't get anything.
But Ike goes here. Ike will just move back. So for Ike, this is super risky. Basically, but yeah, his out of shield is either a gamble or an escape, which is less risky but has no chance of counterattack. So you have tons of stuff to work with here. And you do a pretty decent job catching, resetting to this position. So here...
I do a cross-up near here, right? Yeah.
Right, cross-up nair, Shine... And then it kind of becomes the same situation. Ike's actionable right about here, maybe slightly later or earlier, but it's the same problem of okay, up till maybe frame 5, but starts here. aerials can cover behind him very quickly. Oops, get this, like behind him very quickly, but are behind him and have to go through Ike jump squat. So even though you shine and he goes the wrong way, and you have to catch him, run to catch back up with him, he still has to go back and shield here. So even this, he doesn't, I don't think he power shielded, but he still barely gets shield up in time. And that's on going the wrong way on shine. So like, if you can just keep Ike in these pressure sequences, it's very hard. He has to take a moderately large risk to break out, or you have to kind of get grabbed out of a mistake, or out of pushing your luck, as it were.
Right, yeah. I don't really make a lot of mistakes in shield pressure anymore.
Heck yeah.
Pretty nice. It's taken 6 years.
Finally, after 3,000 years.
Yeah.
Additionally, you know when an out of shield option is coming a little better, because you can't shield forever in this game, right? So if the shield is big, they have a lot of other options, but waiting is another option they have. Versus here, they can't wait. It's a little easier to make these letters work if I make them big. I have learned in my coaching experience.
Well, I mean, it's a pen. You got to do some macro movements.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's a computer pen. Like you drawing with a mouse, you have to make it. You got to go big or go home.
No, but I want to be nice. See, I spelled the word nice, and you can definitely read it.
Yeah, I thought it was mice at first.
That's closer than I expected. So, as their shield gets lower, you get some options simply get removed. Like Ike literally cannot wait against certain kinds of pressure once their shield is low enough. And they might intentionally just drop shield CC at low percent, but that's something they always had access to. So they can't wait. And they are more likely to do something. That something is influenced by percent, and by stage positioning, and by stock count, and by how much you're going to kill them if you hit them, right? So if they're at 0, rolls become relatively safe, versus if they're up smash kill percent, rolls become scary, because everyone's seen that clip from Evo where Mango reads the roll and it's like, oh! Nobody wants to be Hungrybox that day. In those 5 seconds, it's a very emotional fear that is deep within our hearts. But this is one of the upsides of playing a character that people have seen a lot of. People expect things of your character and expect things of your pressure. So, for example, let's say Ike is at 100 kill percent, they're more likely to roll because, oh no, if I get shield poked, or, I can't shield forever, I'm going to die soon, I need to do something. But they're slightly less likely to roll if they've seen a lot of melee where, Mango or some Fox player punishes the roll. And that means they're aware of, roll, if this pressure is very light, then JSP can just punish my roll up smash on reaction without even having to worry about it. So they can't wait. And in this instance, let's say escape's risky, or escapes can be risky. So this is obviously a very bad position to be in general, but especially for Ike, because Ike's out of shield has big holes in it. So depending on if you've gotten to this state in the game yet, which some games legitimately there's no shields ever get this low. If you've gotten to this state, then they have what I'm going to call the fear. Basically, it's fresh in their mind, I got shield poked last game and died for it. I need to act earlier. You can start to kind of piece these context clues together based off of things you're doing, which is the important part, and figure out, maybe this, if this has happened 3 times and they've died for it 3 times, they're not going to get to this point again, because so far, 100% death rate every time their shield gets low. So they're going to do something early. Even if whether it's an escape or a counterattack, there's a billion other factors you can start analyzing, percent, character stage, risk reward, likelihood of success, etc. But even just something like, has their shield ever been a Skittle this match? Can really, really influence your shield pressure. And that's one reason why I think that... Here, let me back up again. I think that you getting this shield pressure here is really, really good. Even though you don't get like a huge combo, like those 5 seconds...
Better, still good stuff.
Right. Because one, Ike here specifically, character-wise, kind of has to shield or escape in some way. But two, you're wearing that shield down a little bit and you're keeping the character in shield. That lets you condition them better because their options are so limited and they're on a 3-second timer, right? Like, their fuse starts when they hold shield and you have to shield sometimes, especially in a matchup like this. I think it's roughly 3 seconds. Don't quote me on exactly 180 frames or nothing, but
it's something around there.
But if they explode in 3 seconds, I'm not a gambling man, but I would bet money that most people would, do something in that 3-second time before they explode.
Yeah.
So because you know that they're going to do something, even if you do nothing, you can really, really get a lot of information. So for example, let's get back to this sequence, and we'll move forward after this, I promise. So here, if you run up, you wave dash in place, and you kind of just stay outside of grab range.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking wave dash down instead of the full hop nair I did would have been the best thing to do.
And it tells you what, like obviously you've played Brian before, but it's especially valuable for getting information, right? Like, I haven't played this Ike player before. What is this Ike player going to do? I haven't played this character before. What is this character going to do? Because like every time that they go into shield, they have to do something. And it doesn't mean that it's not always risky. It's not always, easy to punish. It's not always punishable sometimes. But it's always giving you information on what they're doing. And then you can, especially early in a set, or if you already have information from playing Metroid before, then that can just slot real nicely into your box. Like, for example... Metroid is, in this tournament, Metroid is messing up his pivots and getting a lot of up smashes. He even got a forward smash in neutral at one point.
Yeah, that was because tilt stick was banned.
Oh my god. I guess you can, that's information too, right? You don't have to worry as much about pivot up tilt.
In a clip I uploaded from friendlies that we played a couple weeks earlier where I kill him after he does an up smash, and I was like, shoutouts to Tilt Stick Ben.
My God.
For getting me this clip.
Thank you.
It was all a ploy to get clips on Brian.
All a ploy. But you can use even brief things like this to get that information and then to get more comfortable. Another thing that, at least for me, and I think for most people, that is stamina draining is being uncomfortable in pretty much any way. Like, if you're comfortable, it's the phrase, I could do this all day, right? This is not an exertion. This is not scary. It's not new. It's not terrifying. It's, okay, maybe if I get up thrown, I get hurt bad, but, I'm okay with that. I understand that. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. One thing I'm definitely not getting significantly better at is pacing.
Time management.
Right. So...
I feel that one. I'm bad. I'm bad at time management, too.
Time management's hard. That was a really, really good... I like that air dodge. Because you needed a way to get down, because you burned your jump. When Brian called out your jump here, basically. Called out that you were bluffing. And then specifically seeing that, he went to the bottom, you just try to get down, right? And then in this case, he... Up air? I'm not sure why he did up smash, but regardless... That's a good way to kind of get down. Make it as hard as possible with that fast fall. Mix up your timing. And boom, you're back to neutral. You have another chance.
Oh, wow, I hit that crouch tech chase? Well, I'm wild.
Okay. Something else that actually just gave us a little information. So here, Brian actually could move first, which is funny. Ubby.
Yeah, well, that's 20 frames of lag for you.
But once you're in this position, you're both shielding, he's not risking your shine at a shield, your aerial at a shield option. He's rolling away instead of going for grab here. Because he's not willing to basically gamble that Even though that'd be maybe not, it might not explicitly kill you, but it get close at 90. Then up throw confirm. That gets you at least an edge guard.
Brian plays like a good amount of melee, and so when I think he thinks about this matchup, like his knowledge is kind of grounded there. Well, he doesn't play a lot of melee, but he's played a good amount. So a lot of people forget how much lag Fox Uppy has. And I've never thought about actually just taking advantage of that before.
Yeah, because this is the kind of situation where if you're getting punished, you're getting punished, right?
Yeah.
Especially after dodging that, right? So even if the first thing he does is try to grab you here, Shine is not invulnerable, it is frame 1. So if he tries to shield, thinking you can act first, you get your pressure started, which is huge against Ike. If he tries to grab you, if Shine doesn't beat that, you were grabbed anyway, because spot dodge is null in frame 2. So it becomes a very like, oh, cool. Why not? And so we are at 15. Okay.
Did I get butt grabbed there? I'm not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did kind of get butt grabbed. You ran into the grab.
Whoopsies.
This is a wild.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So this frame, I guess the inner grab box hits your face or something.
Did I turn around? Is that my tail?
Oh yeah, this is the turnaround frame. Wait, no, this is.
God.
No, because you can't go into turnaround that quickly. So this is you being grabbed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That it really is just a butt grab then. Never mind. I thought you had your head poked through.
I was thinking I did a tilt turn and my tail just went into the grab box.
It happens with Fox a little bit. Even without me 2 butt grab, it happens in that matchup. He has so many up smashes in this set. Okay.
Yeah, we unbanned it, so that's not going to happen again. But it was fun while it lasted.
So this double jump here, right here, yeah. What are you trying to catch here?
I think I was trying to not get hit by quick draw, which isn't a good goal.
You're not. No, it's too close to reaction. Even assuming you see this blank at 54. You're double jumping 5 frames later.
I'm trying to not get quick draw attacked.
Oh, you weren't reacting to quick draw. You were just quick draw attack could hit me here.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. If I saw the quick draw startup, then I would assume that's what happened. I was like, oh, I might get quick draw attack. That moves frame 2.
No offense, but you didn't. There were in P plus
Sure.
This is the frame counter. There's literally 4 frames.
Yeah, I forgot. How many frames are we working with?
It's 5. It's 100% out of.
Yeah, then I just did a double jump.
Right. I don't think
Trying to wall out, probably.
You can. Is there a reason you're double jumping rather than doing the single though? Because
I don't. Honestly, I'm not.
If you don't know, that's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to rake you over the coals here.
Well,
but,
I mean that I think if I don't know, that's worse, right?
but. Okay, let's work backwards. Is there a thing that this instant double jump covers differently than normal jump? If you're trying to wall out with bear?
It covers a slight staggered timing, but it also doesn't cover the immediate stuff. So again, yeah, I think these double jumps are a thing to just stop doing.
Yeah, because you're also not at the percent where you can just go to the plat. Even a stray hit here either kills you outright or puts you into an edge guard and you have to up E and it's just a bad... Then you die, right? Even at 0, it's not at 0, I would understand the risk a little better, but I think you just try to avoid... You double jump a lot in the middle of the stage, I've noticed, when you're between these plats. Between PS2, Castle Siege, you like to be here a lot. And then
I even do it on Battlefield.
Hey, it's the same thing, right? This plat doesn't change this spacing.
Yeah.
I think you should probably try to... I'm not going to say you should never do it, but... Oh, I'll bring this up real quick while we're here. But I think you should be very aware of when and why you're doing it. So, you die for this later. You stall enough time. You get to ledge at a good timing. And here, you're still invincible, so it's fine. But you don't drop near low enough to threaten with the shine. This is a frame kill.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but you do double jump back air either way. So rather than hoping you did this quickly enough, if you just go down further, you either shine him or you hit him with the back air anyway.
I'm actually really bad at easy shines. Like, this has been a problem for a long time. I always just shine too early.
That could be something to practice then. The AI recovers very, very linearly. So you can just go into training against Ike, and then just make sure that Ike is not. I don't know if AI will side B, but make sure that they can't. So they end up being down here, and just rinse and repeat it until you're comfy. That'll also let you conserve stamina. When this is not okay, good, the back air hit. It's okay, yeah, the back air hit instead of the shine. Like I know what to do here. And then that one might not have even been necessary, but unstaling moves is nice.
Yeah, I it's hard to react to the height of quick draw there.
Yeah,
I think so. I usually just do the back air to be safe because it still covers everything and they die. Once they've used a couple resources at least.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I do the back air and I die, like here.
So here, you do get hit by that. You do an accidental jump here. I know it's accidental because you don't notice. I'm assuming it was SDI.
Yeah, tap jump does this to me sometimes. Sometimes I get snapback tap jumps.
Oh, that sucks. Tap jump sucks.
I mean, that sucks. It's pretty rare though.
I think this is still a really, really important thing to notice because actually neither of y'all noticed it, which is kind of funny. But this, you have a chance if you can notice this, but if you can't, then you literally, obviously, you don't know that you don't have a jump, but you die for it.
To your death. Yeah.
So even if that is a snapback, like an occasional technical error, that is still something that's really important.
That slide off on that up air forever, and I thought I'd never hit it, but there it is.
That was a sick slide off, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I wish I had an. Oh, is there an input viewer in PM now? Like in the debug menu?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That'd be a fudge pop question. Maybe in T+, right?
Yeah.
I love that it's called T+.
That is indeed Metroid, Tombo.
Yeah, Tombo, that is Metroid. So here, one thing, I guess, rather. So you do this consistently throughout the several matches we've watched together. You refresh once and then you do your ledge option. Which is, it's not explicitly wrong, but it's not, here, it lets Metroid have the freedom to pick a slower...
This is a melee habit, because you have to reset your ECB to be consistent. And that just doesn't happen in this game, but I keep the muscle memory still there.
I'm not saying that resetting ledge at all is bad, but instead of doing it...
No, you're doing it exactly once.
Right. When you do it exactly one time, Metroid can do this forward air, right? This forward air that's a kind of a... Not even a hard call-out, but just, hey, if you don't get your invincible nair out correctly, this hits. Where if you refresh... Ike needs a little bit of time to really, really threaten you and intercept a not 100% invincible nair. Or he needs to settle for something that's less rewarding. And he also has to, then you're giving him the time to think about, wait, what if it's not invincible? Oh, it's invincible nair. What if it's not ledge grab? Oh, it's ledge grab. Give them the time to get the question wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, give them a wrong answer with how many ledge grabs am I going to do? And then, there's just the edge guarding the matchup is just rough.
Yeah, you die. That's all right.
Okay, so...
my wave shine was too good there. I don't even think he has to get in.
Is this the one where you ran through him? Yeah, the running wave shine. That happens a few times. Not just the wave shine, but you kind of are a little off on your spacing.
Where Ike goes.
Oh, is it Ike friction?
Yeah, I'm just not used to it.
Gotcha. Okay, so... This edge guard, you get a nice shield trap back air. This is where going deeper would be very beneficial because you increase your chances of success, and you hit the same move anyway. And you don't have to be so specifically correct on the timing or on your refresh. So this is something that you could practice, both like in general, kind of going deep with Shine, especially on walled stages. Because you can go like down here, Shine back air, or rather, Shine back air, wall jump up B, if you really, really want to go deep. But it'll prevent situations like this. That's such a brutal way, too. You can't even tech.
Yeah.
How rude.
It was a little rude, yeah.
But that's something that you can do.
That's not a good frame to freeze on.
Ike's up there was my favorite attack in PM. It's so cool.
Yeah, definitely. He swings his arm real hard.
Just sticks his sword in the ground and says, hold this. Two-handed.
Just escape in your face. Oh.
He just like, that Batman disorient thing. Just I want to Ike up there somebody in real life, and then I can die happy.
Stretch goal.
Stretch goal. Stretch goal for my Metafy.
And a willing test subject.
Okay. So
I up tilted expecting quick draw, and he delayed it just a little bit.
I think that actually, I guess he does quick draw grab you. That's my bad. But trying to call out the let me back up. So a lot of players will do. Let me get to the jabs. A lot of players will do the fastest possible timing. But by adding in this little dash back here, not only has Metroid gotten out of the way of the immediate, if you aerial drift forward, but also mixed up your timing, and mixed up his timing. And I think with the nature of quick draw being quite literally a quick draw, right? Mm-hmm. That makes your callouts like this very specifically risky when the risk is going to be getting grabbed and the reward is up tilt at 30 in this case.
I mean, that's pretty good, but yeah, I see what you mean.
It's still not in your favor even then. I don't think it's.
Well, up tilt's the wrong move to use to wall out Ike. I think it's just not active enough.
There's another instance of you unfortunately kind of missing the running through Ike on that tech chase. I only bring that up because it happens a few times in this set. And
that one was just it's just a not being used to Ike's tech rolls.
And then here, your punish in this up smash is I know that he doesn't whiff this a lot, but it is weirdly not very good. For whiffing a smash attack into sour hit a dash attack. Wait, that was 7. Was that sour? Regardless.
I might have missed a nair. That's possible.
That would have made sense then.
Also could have just been a bad decision.
Gotcha. Just because you have all that end lag and you're letting him get away with a moderately large technical error.
If I get the strong hit here, he's on the platform, and that's what I wanted.
Okay, that makes sense then. So just happened to get the weak hit. Okay, knowing that there was no tilt stick makes a lot more sense now. It's Brian didn't do this many smash attacks when we played.
Yeah.
Really, really good punish on the Om's attack also. I want to call that out.
I love reacting to Om's attack.
Okay, so the next...
Is a double jump again? Or wait, is that just a full hop?
Let's see. That's just a full hop.
Yeah, okay. Just a normal one.
And there you do have the platform, which makes it a little safer because you can't get dash dance grabbed. That's the big threat in this matchup.
Yeah.
Because that's maybe the fastest thing, but Ike aerials between jump squat and startup, for the most part, Nair is an exception, but for the most part, they're not gonna, just be out there to shark you super fast in the same way that a Marth up air can be, or even that a Luigi up air or a Mario up air or Nair can kind of do that. So if you can just avoid giving Ike that visual confirmation that, oh nope, they definitely have to fall right now. Oh, that's so rough.
I almost died to good DI on back air at 90 in the center of Dreamland.
Okay, center of Dreamland. But yeah, that is still pretty wild. Good move. You might.
Well, this edge card is also raw as fuck, Brian. I'm a big fan of quick draw raw bear.
It's not even committing. Like it's truly just he could have hit your side B. He can hit this up B. It's so terrifying.
It's really good. Yeah.
Okay, I need to accelerate. But yeah, that's just it. Might be worth it trying to take him to a very small stage, just because if you're gonna die at 80 anyway. That's something we can talk about the Ike matchup specifically.
I don't know, Marth residual mental thing.
Sword equals Dreamland, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and at least I had like a sliver of a chance to recover again because of Dreamland, because that back air would have just killed on any other stage.
That's fair.
The first one. And then the other thing is that he can't up tilt me on the platform.
Oh, that is pretty big, yeah. Okay, so you do something I really like here.
Stage, so I just like to pick it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It makes me comfy.
Comfy is good. Speaking of comfy, you are sitting down. You are in your land. You are flourishing. I love this CC.
He does this all the time.
It's hard for Ike to contest.
This is one of the first things I noticed playing Brian. I was like, this is something that Marths do too. And Brian's a Marth player in Melee, so I like kind of put him in the Marth box. But yeah, he'll do this. He doesn't look at your percent when he does this run off nair. So if you're a low percent, you can just CC it.
Right. This is a really, really good call. Oops. Where did I...
Although he started fading it back a little bit, so I can't CC shine him. So I have to do other things.
That's still really, really good pressure. It's just not a guaranteed hit in that same way. Like here, he still had to commit to that roll.
Yeah, I was just a little slow on the CC drill, I think.
Okay. The next note I have is we already talked about the intercept and quick draw kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's also true about yeah, if I take him somewhere small, he's got a wall.
Yep.
So
it's harder to kill him that early.
Yeah.
It's like it's not an equitable everyone dies earlier thing.
Yeah, I mean I can get up air a little sooner usually. But oh well, not on Green Hill. Yeah, so
Right. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in this set here is it's more of the ledge stalling stuff. I'm just going to point out another example of how specifically this it's a very specific call out on it's the sourest hit I've ever seen on how many stalls you do. You get to ledge, you do the one stall, and then you move, right?
Yeah.
And here, like I don't think there's a world. Or let me put it this way: I guarantee if you can do the ledge dash off of this grab, he's not ready for it because that's a very wacky timing that you don't practice out of that meteor cancel.
Yeah, hitting the ledge dash there would have been badass. Again, it's just it's wanting to reset the ECB to one I'm familiar with.
Right.
But again, that doesn't happen in this game, so right. It's just something I have to distinguish.
And I think don't worry about if you do between 1 and 4 refreshes or 1 and 3 because you got to keep that option open. If you do 4 refreshes, they know you're coming back now. But even if you do between 1 and 3, that gives Brian a way to be wrong. So like here, this up tilt, that caught you doing a not quite invincible thing from ledge. But if you refreshed again, you could have then gotten, you're maybe 30 frames later, right?
Yeah, I also think there's a certain amount of what noticing that needs to go on here because this is like the third time that I've been hit like this in the set, and all 3 of them would have, even if I had still done 1 refresh, all of them would have lost to ledge dash shield, which I didn't do a single time. Yeah,
you do kind of. It's a very big temptation, admittedly, but ledge dash invincible attack is really good.
Ledge dash there so much. It's my favorite thing. When I'm playing well, people literally just back up.
Yeah, it's almost that Luigi-esque thing of just like, I'm not going to go mess with them. Just not bother. But, I mean, the powerful thing about Fox's ledge dash is both that... How many frames do you get? You get like 13, 15?
So Fox gets 16 maximum. If the max that people usually get consistently is 14, I consistently get 10.
Okay, well, we'll even use 10, right? So Fox, because of his attributes and his threat, 10 frames of, I'm not going to say consequence-free action, but 10 frames of...
If you do it right, it's consequence. That's why I'm tempted to do it every time.
But this can be so much. This could be obviously literally invincible Nair, which is a sentence that no Smash player should ever have to comprehend. This could be shield or defense.
JC Shine also. That one probably would have worked a couple times too.
Shine. You can just go to a plat, right?
Yeah, it's a little, yeah. Well, Let's Dash Full Hop is pretty good and underused.
Or say vertical rather than plat, but same kind of thing.
You can even dash back. That's something that a lot of people don't do.
Yeah, dash back, dash forward. So because really what this is in your characters in Vuln frames, how many things can they threaten? And Fox's is a lot because he's so fast, and between his speed, shine speed, his pretty solid, obviously grab is on the table. In addition to all this other stuff, his grab conversions being pretty solid against a lot of the cast, or at least throwing off stage, right? Nothing else, just reversing the position.
Yeah, nothing else. Yeah.
So because all of this gets better when it becomes, is this going to be at 35 frames, at 5 frames, at the next 35 frames, etc. So you can't get execution checked in this way with up tilt or forward air. To where, if Metroid does this up tilt, or even, especially the up tilt, maybe the forward air, but especially the up tilt, and you refresh one more time than he expects, all of a sudden, you're right here. You're in a neutral position with 10 frames of Vuln, and even if he's not in end lag, he can't leave. He's got to go.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do if I wait a little bit. You're right.
He's got to shield or defend himself or escape in some way. All of which you have multiple options to get around. Because obviously Shine becomes Shine Grab, becomes Double Shine, etc. Shine opens up everything. If he's going to commit to staying in place, he's not faster than you, vertically or horizontally. It's really, and this is assuming you get your average 10 and not higher than average, or you don't improve that over time, right?
Right.
Just mixing up when you're going to be invincible is a very powerful tool. Especially when you have your very nice refresh there. It's not that really scuffed Ganon refresh where you just drop double jump, hope you did it right, and aren't going to get poked.
Yeah, the one I did is it's a couple frames vulnerable, but because you spend it under the ledge, most of the time you don't get hit.
Yeah, it requires a call out that, not only are you going to refresh once at least, but that you're going to mess it up. So it's just easy to forget when Nair is so good, legitimately. It's easy to kind of tunnel vision on that and forget that, yeah.
It's pretty easy to tell when I started playing just from how much I let Dash Nair. I was right at the peak of Hacks 20XX.
Yeah, it's really good.
Early 2016.
But it also loses
a whole generation of Fox players.
Damn it. I mean, y'all are already Fox players. Don't give Hacks all the credit. Something went wrong before then. Yeah. But importantly, if you aren't good enough at Ledge Dash Nair on that specific one, you get hit for it. Whereas if you're not good enough for a run-up shield, you just shielded too late. Or, you can just shield earlier if you realize your ledge dashes aren't quite on point today. Run-up shine, you're going to get the hitbox out at least, or you're going to realize that, I got intercepted. Maybe ledge dash vertical mobility, you get hit a different way. When you're only picking the one option, you also are only giving them one, situation they have to worry about. Here, Metroid is up tilting, CCing, and if you did your ledge dash Nair right, he gets hit and CCs, and if you didn't, this happens, right? There's not a lot of wiggle room in what's going to happen.
Right.
So, in other words, he's very comfortable. He's not expending energy thinking, what is JSP going to do? I know that Fox can do all of these things. And even if that's only 10 frames in Vuln, that's still a ton. Versus Okay, I'm gonna see if he did the nair right. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Okay, I think that's about because then I don't really got much for the edge guards. I'm sorry, this character's
No,
good.
yeah, no. I have to get better at it. That's all.
My best guess would be to try to
I think Tom
throw.
was right. I have to grind the shine.
Oh, for the edge guard, yeah.
Yeah.
My best advice for this though is to just. You can't even really shine stall it because he doesn't leave the ground, but you can shine stall to get out of tumble without risking tap jump, and then that gives you access to slight fast fall timing mix-ups. Like slight fast fall, like fast fall for like 5-ish frames, and then double jump, and like get in a different spot than Brian expects. But that's a very minor change, and Brian's pretty good at the
If I
game.
shine stall double jump there, and Brian is down there. I can get to the ledge and probably kill him.
Here, let me back up.
I think. Let me look at it again. Oh, I don't have my jump. Never mind.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, what?
You're just too far away.
Yeah, too far away. Okay.
Because the trick is, Tombo, if this side B happens, Brian's got the bear ready. This is not a read. A lot of melee players and a lot of melee characters can do the same thing. So here, if JSP side B is, that bear just hits somewhere else instead. You can still execution check in that way. Be like, oh, are you ready to hit this bear? But it is an unfortunate reality because Ike has the freedom of being relatively floaty in that way.
Side B could definitely still get hit there, but it is I think Tom was right that it is a better thing than what I did.
Yeah, it's moving the execution check up forward. I think mixing it up is also really important, rather than always hoping that he misses. It's exactly when I think anything would reverse and he gets back.
It's possible.
Or it does introduce the possibility of a reverse it. That's true.
I think if I side B there, I get back air on reaction. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's very like this is one of those situations where maybe next time you play Brian, like just side B there and make sure that he has those, right?
Yeah.
Give him something to worry about.
But he's an audio reactor guy. He's got like the audio set up and he knows like lots of sound cues. So
Gotcha.
I would assume that he would have that, but you're right. It would be good to check.
Yeah, if nothing else, even if he has it, showing that you're willing to do it, I think is valuable. Because now, instead of going, oh, JSP hasn't done this all set, yeah, that's expected. Now he's not able to just kind of casually expect something. Even if the outcome is the same, it's the slightest bit more mental energy. And that's assuming the outcome is the same, which is a little bit pessimistic of me, I think. But
yeah. I don't know. I think it's realistic.
Right, but regardless, like the reason that we're kind of assuming and going, oh, I think that might cover everything, is because he never had to cover anything but that one option. So even in the situations where he may mess it up, we won't know because this set you didn't threaten it. And it only came up like 2 or 3 times. I'm not trying to say like, oh, you should get hit by this move more, so that way you can. But there is value in like calling their bluff, even if it might not be a bluff.
Sure.
In the same way that if you're wave shining Peach, they're still going to SDI out, even if you technically can cover it, because you could mess up.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, Tombo, I think you're right. I'm just saying there is a pretty good chance I would have died anyway. But yeah, the side B is better there.
Gotcha. So that is the end of the set. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we broke for the week?
No, not really. This was a pretty holistic experience. That was a solid 2 hours of information.
Oh shit!
This is one I'm probably gonna have to watch a few times.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. That's what I paid for.
Okay. If it doesn't bug you, it doesn't bug you, and that's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't bug me at all. I blew off my friend for 30 minutes. I can now call them. It's no
Don't
big deal.
tell me that. Okay, I'm gonna get this up on YouTube for you. I'll send you the link and the session summary on the Metafy website, and then I will enjoy your time with your friends. I mean, you will. I spoke over myself and made it sound like I will enjoy the conversation with your friend, but I will not be doing that. I'm gonna.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna eat food and shut up. Okay. Anyway, thank you for booking.
I'll eat something for sure.
Thank y'all for hanging out in chat. This will be up on YouTube. I need to change that now, don't I? Huh? Yeah, that's in my Twitch bio. Oh, I need to change my Twitch abouts as well. Great. I have some stuff I gotta do. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later.